All right, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. No break after all. You have no respite whatsoever from the excellent StarCraft 2 action. I hope you guys didn't go to the bathroom or anything, because then you might miss out on the simulation of MMA and Lucky staring at each other from across the set with a big VS in between them, representing the battle to the death that will ensue very shortly.
I have to apologize to Select. Select just visited us, by the way.
Yeah.
He just showed up in the studio, so...
He came up to us, he's, I guess he's sick. He's wearing one of those masks that people wear in Asia to kind of
Before
get their
you
germs from
continue,
going.
we have to say, I have to tell everyone out there that Select and I, we are usually trolling each other quite hard.
Oh, okay, good to know. Anyway, he came up to us and we didn't recognize him at first. He's like, hey, and we're like, ... Oh, okay, now I know who you are. Anyway, we're gonna get started with game number...
Yeah, let's save the rest of the
6.
story and head into the game.
Very soon.
We have Zerg versus Terran, and it is going to be...
Down in the bottom right, our Zerg player who is on a complete tear. He has won 3 games in a row. This is his toughest game yet, though.
FXOpen, lucky!
I predict at least. Maybe it'll be a walkover for him, but MMA is the final boss for Team Slayers.
And he is starting
which,
at the top. Oh, Antigua Shipyard in the blue colors. Once again as Terran, obviously. It is none other than...
Slayers, MMA!
there he is.
So after he did his duty, now it is time to take on the best player in the Slayers team. FXO Lucky, certainly on a roll. He is currently on 11 of 10 supply, going for the Extractor trick. And let's see what
11.
MMA has up his sleeve. I still remember seeing Lenok against MMA on this map. No, sorry.
But Kaldor, how is that possible? If 10 is his maximum, how can he get 11? I don't understand. By the way, there might be some people that are new to StarCraft, actually. We'll explain it briefly. If you make an Extractor, then suddenly you're at 9 out of 10 supply because the drone doesn't exist temporarily. You can make another drone, and then when you cancel Extractor, you get back. So, there you go.
Which is extremely funny when you have like 200 supply and you build 15 evolution chambers, cancel them, and then suddenly you have 215 supply. First time I saw it, Mondragon did it, which was a pretty cool game. It was ages ago.
That's awesome.
And suddenly you had like 215 supply and I was like, what? Wait a second.
Wait, did you say 50 as in 5-0?
No, 15.
Oh, okay.
He built 15, which is still a lot.
It's still ridiculous, but not as ridiculous as 50. Anyway, this drone is going to scout this barracks, put down in the expansion there, a little Macarax going on. And he just did that basically. We see Terrans doing this all the time nowadays because it doesn't hurt them very much. And it throws off the Zerg, or it can throw off the Zerg. A Zerg like Lucky might not get too thrown off, but it makes him wonder for a little bit, is there a barracks? Or is it out in the open in the middle? Are there 2 barracks? Is there another one hidden? I have no idea what's going on. Ah! That's what the Zerg thinks.
He saw the gas, so he knew that the gas had to be somewhere, but you're perfectly right. When you build the barracks outside of your main base, you can also just try to put on a little bit of one barracks pressure onto your opponent, and if you play too greedy as a Zerg, that can still hurt you. So if you, for example, just fly the barracks down to the low ground, building it right next to the smoke screen on the high ground, then you have a very, very short distance between the barracks and the expansion of your opponent. So it can be dangerous. Usually something like this doesn't happen all that often, and we have, well, MMA now with a bread and butter build for Terran these days. He's going for the reactor factory expansion.
Yes, indeed. Immediately getting that factory with his first 100 gas, getting reactor with the next 50. I'll start pumping Hellions out, and is getting that second command center as well. So pretty standard stuff from MMA here.
We have 2 queens being built immediately. So far, Lucky already has pulled off drones from gas. So switch to the main base, obviously, now with the first 2 Hellions being built. And on Antigua, it's quite important when you're a Terran player and you're facing your Zerg that you are trying to prevent the creep spread. And you can also prevent the 3rd base. You can just make sure that there's no drone sneaking over to the potential 3rd base. But eventually, the Zerg will be able to take 3 bases. And also for the Terran, it's not all that complicated to defend the first 3 bases. Antigua evolves around the 4th.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why this map is favored a lot for the Terrans, because it revolves around the 4th, and you know, when the Terran has 3 bases, the Zerg kind of wants to have 4, and it's really hard to get that 4th, whereas it's easy to get that 3rd. And whoa, a second command center, second extra command center actually going up. We saw that a moment ago actually on our screen, but it took a moment to sink in. We have a very fast 3rd, and he's being really ballsy by putting that command center in the expansion, not even building it in a defensive position.
Exactly. Usually what you see is the 3rd base on the high ground so that you can deny the scouting, but he is building the 3rd base right at the, well, potential 3rd base location. Yeah. So this is a little bit weird. Very ballsy move by Slayers MMA.
Wow. And look at this. He's even, while he's doing that, the Hellions are keeping Lucky from even getting a 3rd. Usually when the Terran has his 3rd base going up, the Zerg wants to be maybe think about getting a 4th. And at this point, he's actually going to have 3 before Lucky gets it. And look at it. It's so... is this one going to get in? Oh, he previously gotten the depots up in time to stop Zerglings from scouting him, but this time he doesn't.
That shouldn't have happened. And upon scouting that there's nothing in the main base, he will probably move the Overlord at the 3rd in order to check if the base are in position. Because so far he doesn't know about it, but he should at least now just kind of assume that there is something else going on, and the 3rd base would explain why MMA so far didn't add any additional buildings in his main base.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is that this is so ballsy that Lucky doesn't suspect it. He hasn't moved his Overlord to check because he's like, no, they wouldn't do that. But yeah, I mean, he just scouted the main. At the very least, we do see Lucky droning up and getting some tech because he knows he's not going to get attacked. There's no way he could go for a big attack off of 1 barracks and 1 factory. He knows that he's not going to have a ton of units out. So very smart by Lucky to kind of get a lot of drones out in response. Surprised to see him not being a little bit more aggressive, trying to take his own 3rd.
Well, a lot of Zerg players try to get the 3rd after they finish the lair tech because they want to make sure that they start with their tech before they actually take the 3rd base, so it's kind of safe. They don't have to deal with their Hellions anymore because by then they are in a position where they can take them down. And Lucky is now building 20 additional Zerglings. He's a lot more aggressive when it comes down to his unit production than I thought.
Well, he actually might go for an attack. He has a lot of Zerglings, and one of the things is he knows from the lack of buildings that he's not going to get attacked, but he also knows from the lack of buildings that there's nothing there to defend, and he does know that the 3rd is there now. He's seen it mining with that Overlord. He's seen the SCVs there, so he actually might try and go for that 3rd.
The thing that I'm wondering about a little bit is what kind of tech he's going to choose as soon as he hits there, because what is very good on this map is link Infestor into Ultralisks, but you can also start with a Spire in order to harass with Mutas. You have both options. It's completely dependent on the style that you prefer. He's once again, and he's going for the Infestation Pit this time. Remember, we've seen Lucky on Kami for the Storm with the same early build with a double Evolution Chamber, double upgrades, but then he decided to go into Mutalisks, while now he's choosing Infestors. So he wants to probably go into a build where he can use Ultras later on, which makes sense on Antigua. A lot of maps you can't really make good use of Ultralisks, but on Antigua it makes perfectly sense. Stefano, one of the one of the most popular players that like to use that Ultra style on Antigua Shipyard.
Yes, indeed, and I like these turrets going up around the map. I'm sorry, around the base. He wants to make sure that no Overlords can get into his base to kind of scout what he's doing, find out what he's planning, and also just good to have those periphery defenses in case of Mutalisks. So very smart of him to do that. Having turrets around everywhere. A lot of Zerglings running around the map now.
Look how perfectly MMA's build plays out. He finishes +1/+1 just a few seconds after he finished to build his armory, so he can start right away with a +2/+2 upgrades. But Lucky is a little bit faster than he is. He's already on his way to get +2/+2, building the first 5 Infestors now. It works out perfectly with his Pathogen Glance, so they start with the extra energy to cast the first Fungal. And we have both of them at roughly the same amount of workers now.
This Hellion gets into the main, somehow getting past everything to scout exactly what tech is going on. Did he see the Infestation Pit? Yes, he did. And sees the double Evo Chambers as well. And interestingly enough, he did... MMA did finish 1-1 and Stim all at the same time, but he didn't actually get 2-2. So we do have a very significant upgrade advantage in progress for Lucky if he can stall until 2-2 is done. But he's losing a lot of Zerglings here in the middle of the map.
And he doesn't have a Baneling Nest just yet. He's relying on Infesterling for now. He's getting the Hive tech, so he can start with the Ultralisk. And you're right, no +2/+2 being researched. Now finally he starts with a +2 attack upgrade. But now is the time in the game when it actually starts to revolve around the 4th base. But Lucky with a small run-by attempt, trying to catch those Marines off guard. MMA on top of his game, but a bunch of Zerglings runs into the 3rd base. He splits them up, and this is a really wise choice for MMA. He's killing a lot of SCVs. Too many of them, but 9 fall victim to the Zerglings attack of the FXOpen.
Oh, the tanks are not defended because he brought the Marines home to deal with this. And he gets in with the Zerglings and kills every single tank.
Wow.
Wow, that was just beautiful decision-making, beautiful awareness by Lucky, realizing, wait, you brought all of your Marines back to deal with my handful of Zerglings attacking you? That means there's some free tanks. I'm going to take them. And that puts MMA way behind. He's not going to have anything to keep these infestors off of his Marines.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Why do we have a second infestation pit being built for Lucky? He's building a second infestation pit, and he's attacking in the middle of the map as he's doing so. Going for the fungal. Whoa, nice fungal there. But is it enough? He's using another one. There are no medivacs, one medivac, and it won't be enough. Losing so many units. Lucky is about to throw MMA back. The Slayers player is in trouble.
Wow. That is... Wow. Yeah, MMA getting caught completely off guard there and loses everything.
And Lucky wanted to build an Ultimate Cavern because the I button is next to you, and that's the hotkeys for the Infestation Pit and the Ultimate Cavern.
Maybe that's what happened.
He will try to build Ultralisk, but there's nothing he can do because he doesn't have them. And he's building now a spawning pool. He tried to build a Spire and once again misclicked. This is horrible for him.
What the... Well, did he lose his spawning pool to the drop?
Yeah, he lost his spawning pool to the drop.
That's why he's building a spawning pool.
We haven't seen that on camera just now, guys. I was already wondering if he misclicked again. Now he's building the Ultras Cavern.
BS instead of VS.
Yeah, it would have made sense, but in this particular scenario, he actually lost his spawning pool to the drop. We haven't seen this on camera. Sorry for that.
All right, a Sport Crawler going up in the back of his main and his natural just in case of these drops. Now, MMA is still...
in the middle of the map. There's a huge engagement going on in the meantime. And this time, MMA is able to throw Lucky back. And Lucky now trying to get his 4th.
Yeah, MMA is still ahead because during all that time, you know, they were still on 3-base to 3-base. If it was 3-base to 4-base for Lucky, then sure, then Lucky would be ahead after winning those battles. But MMA has been able to macro back up, and they've just been on basically even terms. And Lucky just now trying to get that 4th base. MMA's goal is going to have to be to shut that down and prevent it from staying up, is what he's going to have to do. That's what you see all top Terrans when they own Zergs, is because they stop those extra bases from completing, and it's probably going to be his first goal. I don't know if he knows that base is going up yet, but now actually there's a few Marines running in there to shut it down before it can start. This is exactly what he needs to do.
Lucky will have a great timing window though, because he's finishing +3/+3. He's going to finish Chitina's plating, and he has like 10 Ultralisks while now getting Adrenal Gland. So if he attacks before Slayer's MMA even completes his +2 armor, he will have such a huge lead in upgrades that he might just crush the Terran player without the 4th base.
He's going to even have Adrenal Glands. He's going to have 3/3 Adrenal Lings, 3/3 Cracklings. He's going to have 5/3 Ultras against 2/1 Marines. With Infestors to back him up. He will slaughter even a maxed army, even 2 maxed armies. Well, maybe not 2, but he will slaughter whatever MMA has.
And there are no ghosts just yet. MMA is now building the Ghost Academy. And here comes Lucky, not just yet, waiting for the rest of his Ultralisk that he's building and the upgrade for his Zerglings. Another drop in the main base.
And it's going to get shut down immediately. No, here's the thing, is Lucky, even though he has the better army, he can't attack that entrenched position with tanks and bunkers, but he can go around to try and kill the new 4th of MMA. That's what he's going to do, trying to draw him out of position. Fungal on the Marines. The SCV's desperately trying to repair that planetary. and they are able to fall back. He gets into a better position, goes back in again. Fungal on the SCVs is going to take them down. The Ultralisk charging forward. Infested Terrans dropping down everywhere, but the Ultralisks are just getting destroyed by the massive DPS. I did not realize that he had so many Marauders in that army, and Lucky's beautiful, beautiful army is now a wreck.
It was just, I have to say that this was not the best decision that Lucky made in this game. He cheats. That was just a horrible engagement by Lucky.
Wow.
And if you look at the minimap, he had, well, let's have a quick look at MMA and Lucky first, because we talk about this.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, in the open field, if they just clashed, unsieged and everything, Lucky's army was so much better, but he attacked the entrenched position of MMA. He tried to go for that fourth, and granted, Ultralisk can take down planetaries very quickly, but he was within range of the tanks. The Fungals went wrong. He didn't get the SCVs. They were able to repair the planetary.
That walk by was just a horrible decision, because at that point in time, MMA already walked down the high ground. He was in the position with the siege tanks that he could use the siege tank. He could cut off the army of Lucky with his marine. And if Lucky would have tried to go for a run by in order to attack the main base and force MMA to leave the high ground and either defend or go for a base race, he should have just used the bottom route. With the bottom, he could have just attacked and he could have dodged that planetary fortress. But as it was, he was attacking not only the army of MMA, but also the planetary fortress that was constantly repaired by SCVs. So there was the worst scenario for him possible. And he couldn't get close to the tanks. The tanks were on the high ground, so there was no way he could reach them. That decision was just horrible by Lucky. And it's really sad, because up to this point, he played really well.
Yep.
And he had such a huge lead in the upgrades. We talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
He was on 3-3 with every single upgrade for his ground army that he needed, while MMA was just on 2-1 for his Marines.
Yeah, MMA had the economic advantage. Lucky had the army advantage. And so Lucky had to just make his army advantage work to take away the econ advantage, and just did not work at all the way he did that. Of course, the alternative would have been to maybe try and take a couple bases and try and get the econ advantage and wait for MMA to come to him. The problem, I don't think he really could have afforded to do that, but
the problem
that
you always have with getting that fourth and maybe the fifth base is if you get both.
Oh, wait, but who's going to come out next?
Lino!
Oh! Lenok, the Lenoctopus, is going to get his sucky tentacles all over the mouse and keyboard and combat Mr. Slayer's MMA.
The big problem coming back to Lucky against MMA is if you on Antigua try to take a fifth base and the Terran already holds the middle position, you are forced to take the fourth and the fifth to the left and the right of your main base.
True.
So you have
you're spread out.
Huge distances to cover, and when the Terran player is going for drop play, which MMA at that point in time already did, then you have to run back and forth the entire time, and you can just spread out your forces, choose his timing right, and then attack into your main base. So it's kind of hard, especially when the Terran is already sieged up, which MMA was. But now, with a score being 3-2 for Slayers, we have Lenok. And this is going to be epic. I mean, Molotov, come on. This match
is going to be totally
the best
epic.
we could hope for.
And, you know, in a way, the winner of this game almost decides the match, because these are the biggest guns that each team has. This is the ace for both teams. Lenok, clearly the most accomplished. I would definitely say the strongest player on FXO right now. MMA, without a doubt, the strongest player on Slayers.
Let's not forget about Oz. He's obviously not able.
He's very strong.
He still could have.
I don't think he's as good as Lenok, personally. When Oz wins an MLG and gets second place in Codas, I'll give him as much credit. We're going to take that 5-minute break now. Don't go anywhere. The epicest match of the entire Team League this season is about to come out.
Here, orbiting the earth for 5 long years. Our lives